Hello everybody, welcome to our biology session. I'm Iman Fauzi, your biology teacher. Our session for today will be about support in man. You have to know that the skeletal system in man works on supporting the body. How can the skeletal system support the body? Okay, if you look at your skull, you will find that it contain inside it what? It contain the brain. So it help in supporting the body, okay, by keeping the brain inside it and keeping the nervous system. Also, the skeletal system protects some of its organs and participating in the movement. How can it protect some of our organs? Okay, if you look at the thoracic cage, you will find that we will have the two lungs and the heart that present behind it. So it helps in protection of the organs, and also it participates in the movement as the skeletal system connected to the muscle. So if the muscle make contraction or relaxation by the action of the nervous system, you will find that the muscles, okay, will affect on what? On the bone. So the skeletal system will move, okay. So in addition to that, it provides the human with the characteristic shape, okay? So if you look at your bones, you will find that it keep your shape, okay? You have to know also that the skeletal system in man consists of skeleton, cartilage, joints, ligaments, and finally tendons. We will talk about each one of them in details. First, you have to know what do we mean by the skeleton. The skeleton in man consists of 206 bone, okay? We will count it bone, where each bone has its own shape and size that can make benefit for us and also suitable for its function, okay? Also, you have to know that the skeleton consists of two parts. We have axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. What do we mean by axial skeleton? Axial skeleton that will be present in the middle of our body. So if you look here, you will find that you have what? You have a skull. So the skull is a part of the axial skeleton. And also you have to find that we have here what we have a thoracic cage. So the thoracic cage is a part of the axial skeleton. Also, we have the vertebral column that will be present in the back of your body. So we have here three parts in the axial skeleton: skull, okay, we have a thoracic cage, and also we have a vertebral column, okay. After that, we will have an appendicular skeleton that will be attached to the axial skeleton, okay. If you look here, you will find that we have two upper limbs. The two upper limbs can connected to the water to the axial skeleton by a girdle. This girdle is called pectoral girdle, and the pectoral girdle here consists of a bone that will be present from behind, that's called the scapula, and another bone that will be present from the anterior part that is called the clavicle, okay. And also we have two clavicle and two scapula. So the pectoral girdle consists of four bones, okay. After that, we will have the lower limbs. The lower limbs, as you look here, will be attached also to the axial skeleton by another girdle. This girdle is called what? Is called the pelvic girdle. And if you look here, you will find that we have here a bone and we have also here a bone. So the pelvic girdle consists of two bones, but the pectoral girdle consists of one bone only, okay? Okay, and after that, we will know the number of the bones in each part, okay? Also, you have to know that we have here inside the what? Inside the skull. The skull consists of what? The skull consists of some bones, okay? But the skull is not present alone. The skull has an associated bones. These associated bones are, we have here inside our left ear and inside our right ear, we have what? We have three types of auditory muscles, okay? So we will have here three bones, and here we will have three bones. They are the smallest bones that will be present inside our body. Also, we will have here and another bone that is called hyoid bone. The hyoid bone is not connected to any bone, okay? And this hyoid bone present above the what? Above the pharynx. Okay, so if you look here, we will have here 7 bones that will be called associated bones. Okay, so the total number of bones that will be present in the skull will be what? It will be 22. Okay, the skull and the associated bone, they will be 29. Okay, okay. First, we will talk about what? We will talk about the axial skeleton and mainly about the vertebral column. Okay, the vertebral column that will be present inside our skeleton will be consists of what? It will be consists of vertebrae. So if you look here, you will find we have here 5 regions that will be present inside what? Inside the vertebral column. You will find that the vertebral column will be present inside what? Inside our body, but in the back. Okay, so if you look here, you will find that it consists of many vertebrae. These vertebrae are classified according to the region that will be present inside. So if you look here, we will have the first group that is called cervical vertebrae, and the number of vertebrae here will be 7. Okay, and after that, if you look here, you will find that we have another group that will be present inside the thorax. Okay, so they are called the thoracic vertebrae. Okay, and after that, if you look here, you will find that we will have lumbar vertebrae. Okay, and after that, we will have sacral vertebrae, and finally, we will have coccygeal vertebrae. Okay, the total number of the vertebrae that will be present in the neck, they will be 7. After that, inside our thorax region, we will have 12. Okay, after that, we will have 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, and 4 coccygeal. Okay, so the total number of vertebrae here will be 33. But you have to know that 33 vertebrae not represent 33 bone. Okay, because each vertebrae will be articulated with another one in the cervical, in the thoracic, in the sacral region. So you will have 7 vertebrae with 7 what? With 7 bones. 12 vertebrae with 12 bones. 5 vertebrae with 5 bones. But here we will have 5 vertebrae with only 1 bone, because they are, well, they are attached to each other. So here we will have fused vertebrae, not articulated vertebrae. And after that, we will have 4 coccygeal vertebrae that will represent only 1 bone. Okay, so the total number of bones here will be 7, 12, 5, 1, 1. So the total number here will be 26 bones. So we will have 33 vertebrae, but with 26 bones. Why? Because the bones that will be present inside the what? Inside the region of the sacral and also coccygeal will be represented by what? By 1 bone. Okay, so here the total number of bones will not equal to the total number of the vertebrae. Also, you have to know that we have here inside our cervical vertebrae, we have 3 types of shapes of the vertebrae. The first one will be different from the second, the third, and the fourth, and the second one will have another shape. From vertebrae number 3 to vertebrae number 7, all of them will be with the same shape as you look here. So in the cervical region, we have what? We have 3 types of vertebrae. Vertebrae number 1 and 2 have different shape. Vertebrae number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 has the same shape. Okay. After that, if you look here, you will find that in the thorax region and in the laminar region, they have all of them in the thorax have the same shape, and all of them in the lumbar has the same shape. Okay, and also if you look here, you will find that we have a typical vertebrae here and a typical vertebrae here that we will talk about its structure. Okay, okay. From here also, you have to differentiate between what? Between the ventral view and between the dorsal view. If you look here, you will find that this is a ventral view. Why? Because we have here the body of the vertebrae that we will talk about it. The body of the vertebrae here that is called the centrum. So we have here centrum. The centrum will be present in the ventral view. But if you look here, you will have to find that we have neural spine. The neural spine here will be clear from the what? From the dorsal view, okay? So if I look here, I will say that we have a ventral view because we have the centrum. But here we will have the neural spine, so it will be the dorsal view, okay? Okay, also you have to look here about the lateral view. The lateral view here, you will find the processes of the each vertebrae, okay, that we will talk about them in details, and also we will have here what we will have here the centrum of the vertebrae, okay? Okay, also you have to know that we will have four curvature. Curvature for what? Curvature for the vertebral column, okay? This curvature will be present in the what? In the human after what? After being fully completed in its what? In its body structure. So if you look here, you will find the curvature of the cervical vertebrae will be what? Will be here. If you look here, we have here a convex and we'll have here a concave curvature, okay? So it will be convex from the ventral view and concave from the dorsal view, okay? If you look here at the thoracic vertebrae, you will find that we will have a concave curvature from the ventral view and a convex curvature from the dorsal view. And also, if you look here, you will find that the lumbar vertebrae will contain what? A convex curvature from the front view or from the ventral view and a concave curvature from the dorsal view. And also here you will find the what? The sacral and the coccygeal vertebrae, each one of them together will contain what? Will contain a concave curvature from the ventral view and the convex curvature from the dorsal view. So we will have here two same curvatures, okay? Okay, if you look here at the what? At the thoracic and the sacral coccygeal together, we will have the same curvature. And here in the what? In the cervical and also in the lumbar, they have the same curvature. Okay, after that, we will talk about what? We will talk about the structure of the lumbar vertebrae or the structure of the what? Of the thoracic vertebrae. Okay, because they are what? They are typical bony vertebra. Okay, if you look here, you will find that we have here a centrum. The centrum is anterior thick part. Anterior, you can look at it from what? You can look at it from the ventral view, okay? And here we will have many processes, okay? These processes, as you look here, will be present in the what? Will be present in the lateral view and also in the dorsal view, okay? So if you look here, you will have the centrum that will carry the what? The neural ring or the spinal ring. It's a bony ring that is attached from the posterior part with the what? With the centrum and surrounded by neural canal. The neural canal here, you will find that the neural spine or the neural or the neural neuron that will be moved inside it, okay? It's a part of the what? Of the central nervous system, okay? We will have a brain and also we will have the neural spine. So if you look here, you will find that it will move inside it, okay? After that, we will have what? We will have two transverse processes, two bony processes that are attached laterally with the centrum, and each one of them carries an anterior articulating process, okay? So if you look here, you will find we will have anterior articulating process and another anterior articulated process. After that, we will find that we will have neural spine. The neural spine will be a posterior process that is indirected downward. So if you look here, you will find it that will be present what? Indirected downward, okay? To be what? To be not affected, okay? As if you have any shock inside your back, it will be broken, okay? If it's look here straight, okay? So it must be what? It must be directed downward. Why? Because if any proc that will be happen here, it will affect it on the neural canal, okay? And it will affect it on the spinal cord that will be present inside it, okay? After that, you will find the neural spine carries to another articulating processes that will be called what? That will be called posterior articulating processes. So here we will have three pairs of what? Of paired processes. We will have two transverse processes, two anterior articulating processes, and two posterior articulated processes, but only one neural spine or neural process. Okay? Okay. After that, you will find that the function of the vertebral column is what? The vertebral column acts as the main support for the body. Why it's the main support of the body? Because if you look here, you will find that the cervical vertebrae will carry the skull, okay? And here in the what in the thoracic region, you will find that the thoracic cage will attach to it. And also in the what in the pelvic region, you will find that two lower limbs will attach to it. And also we will talk about the upper limbs that will attached with the what with the pectoral girdle will be attached to the sternum. It's a part of what? It's a part of the skeletal system, okay, axial skeletal system, okay. After that, we will talk about the another function that it protects the spinal cord, because here we have a neural canal. The neural canal here is the spinal cord that will come from the brain, will move along the vertebral column, okay, but not along the vertebral column, because we talk in the last year in the second term that we will have here what the first sacral vertebrae, first lumbar vertebrae, and second lumbar vertebrae. We will have here the neural spine. The neural spine stop here, okay, and it not move to the last or to the preceding what or to the previous vertebrae that will be present inside our vertebral column. Also, you have to know that if you look here and suppose that we have here vertebrae number 13 and also vertebrae number 14 as an example. If you look here, you will find that we will have a cartilage between the centrum of the vertebrae Y and vertebrae X, okay? Also, if you look here, you will find that we will have an articulation. This articulation, okay, will be between what? Between the two posterior processes of the vertebra number 13 and the two anterior processes of the vertebra number what? Number 14. So if I ask you that we will have four articulated vertebrae, as you look here, how many processes that will be held in this articulation? If you look here, you will find that we have here two anterior articulating processes and here two posterior articulating processes. The two anterior here are not sharing in the what in the articulation of this vertebrae. And if you look here, the vertebrae number 1, for example, has here two posterior processes that will articulated with two anterior processes. And the vertebrae number 2 will contain two posterior processes that will articulated with two anterior processes. Vertebrae number 3 contain two anterior processes, two posterior processes that will articulated with two anterior processes of vertebrae number 4. Vertebrae number 4 has also two posterior processes, but they will not help in the articulation of these vertebrae. So we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We will have here 12 articulating what? Anterior and the posterior processes, okay? Okay. Also, we have here another note that the trunk is the region that mediates the human body. The trunk will start from what? Will start from the thorax till the pelvis. Two, if I ask you about the number of the articulated vertebrae that will be present here, we will have the thoracic and the lumbar, okay? Articulating vertebrae. So we will have 12 plus 5, that will be 17. But if I ask you about the vertebrae that will be present here, or the number of bones that will be present here, if I ask you about the vertebrae, you will mention here the number of thoracic, lumbar, sacral, and coccygeal, okay? So we will have 12, 5, 5, and 4. But if I ask you about the bones that will be present here, you will say 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 1 sacral, and 1 coccygeal bone, okay? So the trunk is the region that mediates the human body and consists of what? Thorax, abdomen, and pelvis, okay? And you have two concentrated here about what? About the aim of the question, okay? Okay. If I ask you also about the vertebra that bisected the neck, if I ask you about the vertebra that bisected the neck, you will go to this diagram. We have here what we have here, 7 vertebrae, okay? So the 7 we will divide it by 2, okay? So the result here will be 3.5. You will find that we don't have a vertebrae that's called 3.5, but you will add another half. So we have here vertebrae number what? Vertebrae number 4. Okay, that will mediate the what's the cervical vertebrae. You will have 3 above it and 3 below it. But we don't have any vertebra that will bisect the what? The thoracic, okay, vertebra. Why? Because we have here 12, okay, the 12, we don't have here one that will divide it into 2 parts. But here the third, what? The third lumbar one will be mediated what? It will be mediated the lumbar, sacral, and the coccygeal, okay. If you look here, we will have here the third what? The third sacral, but they are what? They are fused. Coccygeal, we don't have here any mediated vertebrae, okay? Also, if I ask you about the vertebrae that bisects the vertebral column, you have 33 vertebrae over 2, so we will have 16 and a half. So here, nearly 17. So the vertebral number 17 will be mediated the what? The vertebral column, okay? And here we have finished our session for today. Thanks a lot for your listening. I'll see you in the next session, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum.